Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. All right, so let's clean up that weld a little bit. All right, well, not that it's necessary, but we're going to put it in anyhow. We want to put this this pin or this latch in. See how that's going to work. Well, it's not going to go in the hole. Well, kind of. Not totally, though. But that should lock it in just nicely. So really, what we've got left is putting our adjusters on and getting those in place. Now the problem I'm having, oh yeah, and we have to put a spacer in there and get put a spacer in here and get a jam nut for that, so that it clears the surface of the slider itself. So that's, that's not too difficult. But what we want to do is we want to get this all the way back to about there, so that we have maximum opening for the rollers. And what I'm seeing is that my clamp, or my seat for everything, sits just a little too far back. So, and it needs to be a good 1/2 inch, 3/4 further forward than it is. And I don't like that. So I mean, it looks to me like it's a pretty simple deal. I mean, it's going to take some time and effort, but it's worth it. Drop that. Looks like what we need to do is make another one of these, except about 3/4 longer, and then drill a hole in it and create the slot. So I think it's a doable thing, and it's worth it at this point, just to make it really a complete project. Otherwise, we're hanging way out there on the edge. Not that it's, welded in and it'll, you could probably drive a tank up on it, but it doesn't look good. So, and hey, I'm here for looks too. Okay, let's get started on making some new of these. 3 of them. Well, Nick Collier here again, and you know, we had this weather reprieve that was like, I can't tell you, it was spring-like. It was up in the 70s, and you know, it's California, and that's how California is at times. But it's mid-February, and it should be colder. Well, it turns out today it's colder, and I'm feeling a little regretful for that. But hey, you know, just put on the gloves and put on extra clothes, and let's move forward. And in order to move forward here, we're going to go ahead and continue with the rebuilding the sliders for the steady rest, and we'll do that and hang in there. We're going to have first thing we're going to want to do is drop these, or just square these surfaces up, because we cut them with the saw, and you know, that's not going to be too much of a problem. We'll bring our bit over here, drop it down till it hits. Oops. Lock our quill, bring it up about, oh, I don't know, 30 thousandths or so, and let's see how that looks. Okay, well, and I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing that it's possible that the height is going to be more critical than I thought. So we're going to bring it down at least closer to that. So we got, looks like we got about 100 thousandths to pull off of there or so. So let's get cracking here. We'll take a full 50 this time, see what we can come up with. Okay, so we've got our height. Actually, it isn't our height because we don't know exactly what we're going to end up with on the floor of this. So I cut it maybe 20 thousandths short or something like that. So now we want to come in and square up this side like this one and get our width correct. Now, in order to do that, we need this piece of bar. And got it. Looks like it fits just about perfect right there, which is different than this one because this was a different piece of metal. So all we really want to do is square up this bottom area here. So we will come in, get this thing rolling. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to just flip this. And see how it turns out. Well, except we're on the climb side again. All right, let's give that a shot. I don't know, too loose. Oh, it's pretty good once it gets in there. Okay. That'll be fine. We'll do two more and we'll be back. Okay, so if we have our slider bracket set up so that it comes all the way to the inside circle, then the nut is going to be in the way. If you look at it, it'll be in the way. Now we can bring the nut down thickness wise until it's as thin as this is, and that way the nut will go in, but there's no relief for it right in here. So, you know, in this circle right there. So we need to kind of create just a small relief right here just to get that nut halfway in so it fits better. All right, so I think what we have to do first is we need to square up this edge. And we need to do it on all of them. So we're just going to square up one side, and then we'll flip it and get it set up so we can we be in the same spot every time. Okay, so drop this down a bit. bring it in. Okay, well, here we are again, and it's time to pretty much start assembling this thing. We're going to get the circle locked in, and then clamp this down and get the pin in here, and then put it on the rotary table and cut grooves to get 120 degrees on each one of those. And then we're ready to pretty much lock them in. So what we're doing right now is we're going to take our latch and drop it in here. Oh yeah, we want to get a little bit of grease on that first. Just a little bit of white grease. And this is going to go in like that. Let me get a small hammer. Doing. And we should be poking out the other side any second. And what I'm thinking about doing is just once this pokes out, and we've got like a 1/16 sticking out of both sides. I mean, it's a nice tight fit, but it will slide out eventually. I'm just going to take and put the other side on the anvil and just ping the outside edge of this side, and then flip it over and do the same thing on the other side eventually. But for right now, we're going to just lock this down. And it looks like it's going to lock just fine. And that looks pretty good. So, from now, we're going to take the vise off of the mill. We're going to put the rotary table back on the mill, and then set this thing up on the rotary table squared up, and then cut some kind of something that we can get the sliders in, and they'll be ready to weld. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, well, we got so involved in setting this thing up, I forgot to turn on the camera. But we're here, and we've got the rotary table centered. We've got this centered onto the rotary table, and now we're cutting our first cut. And we're going to take it down at least the thickness of the metal here, probably even a little further. I'd say we're about halfway. So we took 200 there. So I think what we're going to do is just come back and do 200 more. Pins back here that hold up my my protector. So let's just come out. That way nobody's in the way of nothing. Look at that. Oh man. Okay, so let's come in a little closer. We're going to take this in and drop it down until we touch. And then we'll start at 200 from there. Okay, bring it over. 200. So that's 400. Is that what we want? Yep, just about 400. Okay, let's do it again. All right, so now we've got a 3/4 inch slot, 400 thousandths deep, 3/4, 750. And we need to make a 2-inch slot, so that's 3/4, 750 would be 350 and 25, 375 plus that gets us halfway. Okay, we're gonna have to work this one out. I know it's fairly simple math, but I'm bad at math. Okay, 625 thousandths from where we're sitting. We're gonna move out that direction and then move over to the other side and do 625. So let's go ahead and make our move. One, two, three, four, 5, 6. We're gonna do 620 and we'll come back and finish it up. Let's do 615. That'll give us 10 thousandths to finish up. Well, it's taken too much of a bite, so we're gonna do 300 first, and that'll get halfway, and then we'll come back and do the second step. We're still going to come over 325 or 300. And then we can come back later and re-catch that. Nice. Fits just right. There's just a little bit of spring on that. It'll allow me to clamp it down and weld it in place. Okay, good. So now we've done one. Now we're going to rotate around 120 degrees. So, 120, huh? Alrighty, let's get that wrench out of the way. 60, 70, 80, 90, 1, 10, 20. Oops, yeah, that's good. And we're gonna go to 120 to 0, lock it. We're set to go, and that's the far edge of our cut, so that's going to just barely hit the corner of that. We may have a problem. There could be a problem, Houston. Damn it. Okay, so now we move this. We're over at the far end of our cut. So now we're going to move this to the other end of the cut, which would be 625. There's 625. And what's that look like? That's going to take off that ear. Damn. Okay. All right, well, we're going to need to think about this. All right, well, the only answer I can come up with, because I can't take any extra off of this, is just to score this to give me a line where I'm going to put this and the angle it's going to be at, and then just go back and fill that one in, you know, with a piece of 1/4 inch or something like that. So we'll come back to 240, 220, 240. And we're going to come to 0. Okay, let's do it again. All right, we've got it pretty well marked. We still have to go back in. Let's see what we can do with that. I'm thinking we can come in with a piece of 2 inch. Well, that's not 2 inch. Let me go find a piece. Well, we can just look at it. Well, let's kick the camera first. Just come in with a piece of 2 inch, maybe weld it in, and then come back and trim it down just a little bit. because this is just a little bit small. All right, we'll be back.